It's fantastic.
Watch any footy?
Yeah, I did watch it. The best game for a long while was Hawthorn Port Adelaide. That was a sensational game of footy.
It was a cracker.
Yeah.
Do you look
Fast.
At do you tell your players this is where we have to get to, or do you reckon they know that?
I reckon I'd know. Yeah. You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
It is amazing how few players watch games, though. Like I've asked players, did you see that game of the weekend? I'm sure they watch some football, but players do like to get away from the game. And obviously, we'll show them a lot of vision during the week, and maybe that's sort of, in a strange way, that's their escape. But you would think, if it's a good game, Port versus Hawthorn, unless they've got something else on, you'd think, I'm going to watch this because this is the pinnacle of where we want to get to and how we get there. So you would hope that most AFL players would watch a game like that.
These are resilient, aren't they?
Who, Port?
No, both.
Hawthorn. Oh, yeah. I just like watching Port Adelaide play now. I just like watching them play. And so do their fans, don't they? They turn up.
Are they the benchmark at this time of the year?
Well, I think in some ways they are. I think the way they work really hard, Bomber. We're playing them this week. So
I don't know. I was sitting there watching the TV and I was thinking, what do you do to beat this mob? Like, what is it that, you've got certain teams that you sort of, we'll attack that angle. Put Adelaide, I'm not sure.
I think they're really well balanced, aren't they? Well, hopefully we can find the formula. But when you're watching them and you're dissecting them, I think they're very well balanced. They've got a very good defence, good forward line, good midfield. So what you're saying, Bomber, you're just finding that weakness, is really hard because they've just got a really good level of consistency with all their players playing well. They're all fit. They're all really well prepared. So that's why they've only lost one game.
It's funny when we talk about Port, we talk about their running game, we talk about their skill level and balance. What no one ever talks about, they are ferocious at the contest. Yeah. And that's number one.
Yeah. I think they are number one in contested balls.
Yeah, they compete. Yeah. And we asked Kenny Hinkley last week, what's your number one unconditionally? He said, every player must win their own ball. And I go out and watch the game, Bomber, and I'm thinking, these guys are premiership ruthless. This is finals football at going for the ball.
Hawthorn had no time and space, particularly early, did they? Which is unusual because the Hawks are normally good at just hitting that target and slowing the game down and
time to hit the target. They had no time. They were a bit shaky with some of their kicks.
So what do you suggest? Can you tell us seriously? Tell us something.
Well, I think firstly,
how are you going to prepare to beat these people?
Firstly, what Ken's saying is right. Good teams have a foundation. They tackle well. They win the hard ball. So if you don't do that against any team, it's hard. But if you're not going to do it against Port, so you've got to be prepared to come and ready for a battle. There's no question.
That's number one.
Number one, you've got to be prepared to come ready for a battle.
What's number two?
Well, run. They're a very good running side. So they're a two-way running side now, which is the benchmark of midfielders. You want your midfielders to run two ways, offensively and defensively. So your players have got to be prepared to put the skates on and run. It's going to be a hard game, and that's credit to Ken. And I think, I'm not sure whether I'm quoting him correctly, but I think he now knows that he's got a good team. He knows he's got a good team. I think what he did say, the best teams do it week in, week out over a period of time. So he knows when he turns up in the coach's box, he's got a good football team, and so he should. He does have a good football team.
Look forward to seeing how you
good luck, Brucey.
Yeah. Well, because someone's got to break it down, and you've been able to do it with your team. You haven't got all the skills. We know that, but you've got that defensive side working for you.
Well, I think, look, for us, it's just continuing to concentrate on what we're doing. We're a long way behind Port, but in what Ken's saying is right. We're trying to do, and Bombers trying to do, win the contested ball, put pressure on the opposition, and that's the baseline of a team. And then your team will fluctuate, given your talent level and injuries and where you're at and all those sorts of things. But we're just trying to do what they're doing really well.